Welcome to the HFY Tales channel. Remember to like and subscribe if you like the story. Enjoy and take care.
The research station on Varenthia stood as a testament to human curiosity and resilience. Nestled among towering bioluminescent trees, it buzzed with the whir of machines and the chatter of scientists who had dedicated their lives to studying this alien paradise. The air was thick with the scent of strange flora, a mixture of sweetness and something earthy. But to Lucas, it felt like home. He was a man driven by the unknown, drawn to the mysteries of the galaxy in a way that few could understand. Lucas adjusted his data goggles, fixing his focus on the vibrant foliage stretching above him, neon green leaves shimmering under the filtered light of the alien sun. His mind raced with the potential discoveries hidden in this unexplored territory, yet there was also an unshakable loneliness that accompanied him. Here, surrounded by camaraderie, yet perpetually separate, he felt like an outsider. "I need more samples from that grove over there," he muttered to himself, his voice quiet over the hum of the station behind him. He had always been fascinated by the myriad of life forms, yet the closer he studied them, the more he craved connection, human or otherwise. Unbeknownst to him, Tessara watched from the shadows, her emerald eyes wide with curiosity. The Varenthian maiden was accustomed to her world, where every being was rooted in instinct, life themes interwoven with survival. Yet this human, dressed in odd materials, moved through her realm as though he belonged. But even as she watched, the old tales echoed in her mind, stories of humans as predators, lurking in the dark with hunger in their eyes. As Lucas stepped deeper into the grove, he became entranced by the vibrant hues of a local fruit, resembling a perfect blend of starfruit and cherries. Sensing the weight of her gaze, he reached for it, intrigued but oblivious to the myths swirling around Tessara's perception of him. "What a beauty!" he murmured, inspecting the fruit, ignoring the faint rustle of leaves behind him. Cautiously, he bit into the succulent flesh and savored the rush of flavors. The sweetness tugged at his taste buds and pulled a smile onto his face, a smile that was interrupted by a sudden sharp intake of breath. Tessara stepped out, revealing herself at 6 feet tall, with skin that glimmered under the sunlight like the petals of a wildflower, adorned with intricate bioluminescent patterns. Her heart raced as she approached. "What are you doing?" Her voice was a melodic blend of confusion and fear, echoing against the trees. Lucas turned and nearly dropped the fruit, his heart pounding at the sight of her. I mean no harm. I was just..." Suddenly, as he licked his lips in delight to catch the last taste of the fruit, Tessara recoiled, her eyes going wide with horror. The stories flooded her mind, tales of how humans consumed their mates after intimate encounters. "Stop!" she cried, her voice shaking, emotion swirling as she staggered backward, memories of loss creeping into her heart. "You plan to eat me, like all the others before." Confusion flashed across Lucas's face, thinking perhaps he had misheard. "No, I'm not going to eat you." But the look on Tessara's face made it clear she was far from convinced. Tears welled in her eyes as she imagined herself as the next victim to fall prey to a human predator, her previous fears now multiplying with the weight of tragedy she had witnessed in her past. With the weight of misunderstanding hanging in the air, Lucas made a decision. He needed to turn this miscommunication around. "I promise, I won't hurt you," he pleaded, stepping forward slowly, hands raised in a non-threatening gesture. "Let me explain." As he took a tentative step towards her, the vast unknown of their worlds loomed large, waiting for the bridge of understanding to be built, a bridge both of them would have to walk together if they were to ever truly know each other. The tension in the air felt palpable as Tessara's heart raced, and her instincts urged her to flee back into the forest. But something about Lucas's expression, a mix of surprise, concern, and sincerity, made her hesitate. She stood rooted to the spot, a whirlpool of fear and confusion swirling inside her. "I have no intention of harming you," Lucas reiterated, voice soothing, as if speaking to a skittish animal. "I'm here to study the flora, not to make you fear me." He hoped his earnestness would diffuse her initial panic. Tessara, still preparing to bolt, studied him closely. The human's blue eyes, bright and clear, seemed to hold genuine intent. He appeared calm now, despite the startle, and she sensed something deep within her stirring, a mix of curiosity and trepidation. Yet centuries of ingrained stories played at the edges of her mind, warnings etched into her very being. Finally, she broke the silence. Why would humans come to our world? Do you all have an insatiable appetite for flesh? Her tone was harsh, but it betrayed the softness that lurked beneath. No, Lucas responded, a hint of warmth in his voice. We're explorers. We're here to learn and understand, not to conquer or consume. He gestured to the strange fruit still clutched in his hand. I thought this might be part of a local diet and wanted to taste it, that's all. Tessara lowered her eyes. The visions of her ancestors warning of the dangers lurking among the stars still burdening her thoughts. Her people had experienced great loss at the hands of those they did not understand. The stories revolved around betrayal, hunger, and conquest. Would this human turn on her if given half the chance? Yet, as she stood there, uncertainty knitted in her throat, she remembered the times she had felt secure in the embrace of her kin, the laughter shared under the moonlight, the bond of friendship woven through her days. Her attention drifted to the lush surroundings, making her realize that perhaps this human was an exception. "What is your name?" she finally asked, her voice gaining strength. "Lucas," he replied with a smile, low and inviting. "And you're Tessara?" "Yes," she said, the weight of her name binding her to her people, yet feeling it shift as she spoke it to the stranger. "How did you come to know that?" "We've been studying your culture," Lucas explained, now more at ease. "Specifically, I've been gathering data about the flora and fauna here, but I've also heard about the Varenthian customs and how rich they are." Intrigued, Tessara took a step closer, cautiously still, but drawn in by the warmth of his voice. "You've studied my people? What do you understand about us?" "Only fragments, but I learned that you see love and bonding as deeply sacred," he replied, finding a connection in their conversation. "Part of that is the fear of losing someone, right?" "Yes," she admitted, her voice softening as she felt her defenses begin to crumble. To mate with someone is to promise your devotion, but also to face tremendous grief if that bond is severed. Lucas nodded, sensing the layers of pain in her words. "We have tragedies in our culture too, but love is also about connection and sharing, and I think we can learn from each other." Tessara studied Lucas, peering into the depths of his blue eyes, catching glimpses of sincerity and openness. He moved with a gentleness that was disarming, a stark contrast to the terrifying images she had stored deep within her mind. "You may not eat me, but why should I trust a human?" His expression grew earnest. "Because I want to understand, not just your species, but you as an individual. We can explore this world together." Her heart fluttered at his invitation, the possibilities of what this new relationship might hold unfolding before her. What if he was telling the truth? What if there was no treachery behind his words? In that moment, Tessara chose to take a leap of faith, even if it terrified her. "Very well, Lucas," she said softly. "I will give you a chance to prove your intentions." As they took a tentative step towards each other, the barriers began to crumble, not just those of misunderstanding, but of fear as well. The vibrant world around them shimmered, filled with potential, while the story of their unlikely bond truly began to unfold. The sun was beginning its slow descent into the horizon, casting long shadows across the alien landscape as Lucas and Tessara walked side by side through the vibrant grove. It wasn't long before Tessara led him to a small clearing adorned with vibrant flowers shaped like stars, their petals swaying delicately in the cool breeze. "Here," she said, pointing to the flowers. "These bloom only at dusk. They're known for their beauty and the way they can evoke emotions in those who observe them." She watched as Lucas bent down, captivated by their shimmering hues. "They are stunning," Lucas replied, his voice filled with awe. "What do they symbolize for your people?" "They represent hope," Tessara explained, her voice softening. "A promise that even in the darkest times, beauty can still be found." Their conversation flowed naturally as they explored the clearing, but the earlier horror of their first encounter lingered, unspoken. Lucas couldn't shake the feeling that Tessara's memories of mistrust loomed like a dark cloud over them, and he feared crossing into any territory that might remind her of her pain. Suddenly, a low growl reverberated through the air, sending a shiver down Tessara's spine. She turned, eyes wide, and instinctively moved closer to Lucas. Out from behind the thicket came a large, predatory creature, a Varenthian cloud stalker with glistening scales and razor-like teeth, its enormous eyes fixed upon them, drawn by the sudden movement, calculating its next move. "Stay behind me," Tessara urged, her voice trembling as she tried to protect him, clutching his arm reflexively. Lucas barely had time to process her instructions. The creature lunged, a blur of speed and power. In a flash, Lucas felt a surge of adrenaline. He quickly grabbed a nearby branch, raising it defensively. "I won't let it harm you." His voice was steady, but inside he felt a mix of fear and resolve. The cloud stalker snapped at the air between them, its growl echoing in the clearing. Tessara, feeling torn between protecting Lucas and facing the creature, hesitated. "Back away slowly. It will see you as a threat." With a combination of bravery and instinct, Lucas took steady steps backward, his heart racing. He didn't want to be a heroic figure. He just wanted to survive and ensure Tessara was safe. "We can find a way to scare it off." But before he could finish, Tessara darted forward. "Go!" she shouted, her voice filled with authority, her poise commanding. "It is my duty to protect my territory." Tessara approached the beast, her bioluminescent patterns shimmering as she channeled her energy into a warning display. The creature paused, taken aback by her confidence. It let out a hesitant growl, and for a moment, it seemed confused, as if struggling to weigh threats. Lucas watched in awe, his heart filled with admiration. Here was the elegance of Tessara's strength in action, her ability to stand before fear, harnessing something within her that transcended their differences. As the creature hesitated, the moment became tense. Lucas seized the opportunity to inch closer to Tessara, hoping to aid her in some way. "Tessara, we can scare it together," he called out, raising the branch like a battlestaff against the predator. Suddenly, another growl erupted from the grove, deeper and more resonant. Lucas turned to see a larger rival cloud stalker emerging from the shadows. The first one stepped back, sensing the dominance of the newcomer. "Oh no," Tessara breathed, realizing their peril. "We must run." The two cloud stalkers locked eyes, tension thickening the air. Before Tessara could act, a swift movement from the larger creature sent both of them into a frenzy. A surge of instinct took over as Lucas grabbed Tessara's hand. "We have to go." In a flurry, they dashed deeper into the grove, branches snapping underfoot as they weaved their way through the greenery. Their breaths came in ragged gasps, their hearts pounding nearly in sync against the chaos that surrounded them. The chase continued, and with every step, Lucas was fueled by urgency but also the weight of their earlier misunderstanding. "I'm not your enemy," he yelled between breaths, wanting to assure Tessara, but he feared that their survival depended on a bond neither of them had fully embraced. "I know," Tessara replied, glancing back as the creatures closed in. "But they smell your fear. I'm not afraid of you." Lucas called out suddenly, realizing he was attempting to defy not just the predator behind him, but his own insecurities about her fear of him. "I want to protect you. I want to understand." Suddenly, a loud roar erupted, causing them both to stumble. The larger cloud stalker had cornered them, and they were running out of space. Just then, Tessara whirled to face it, legs apart, determination solidifying in her eyes. "Stay behind me." With those words, she focused all her energy, channeling her people's ancient connection to the creatures of this land. She emitted a dazzling wave of light from her bioluminescent markings, illuminating the grove as the aura radiated outward. The large cloud stalker hesitated, its bold stance shaken, momentarily entranced by the captivating display. Lucas watched, spellbound, realizing the depths of Tessara's bravery. She was no longer the frightened maiden, but a powerful guardian. As she maintained eye contact and projected strength, the cloud stalker began to back away, confused and unsure. In that moment, Lucas felt an overwhelming sense of admiration. He stepped beside her, feeling their combined energy pool. "We can face this together," he encouraged, voice steady as they stood side by side. In a stunning display of unity, Tessara nodded, and they confronted the beast together. The Cloud Stalker, sensing their combined strength and determination, emitted a low growl of recognition before retreating into the shadows, pursued by the larger creature. Once the danger faded, Tessara exhaled deeply, the adrenaline still coursing through her veins. "We did it," she said slowly, disbelief tinging her voice. "We were together." Lucas looked at her, feeling the bond between them strengthen. "You were incredible. I've never seen anyone command such presence. You made them back down." Tessara's cheeks flushed with a mixture of pride and embarrassment. "It was instinct, born from the bonds of my heritage," she replied, her demeanor shifting slightly. "But maybe I've also learned something from you. You stood your ground." "Only because you inspired me," Lucas admitted earnestly. The realization that their paths had begun to intertwine filled him with warmth. They were beginning to bridge their worlds, sharing the weight of survival, a monumental step towards overcoming their misunderstandings. But even as relief washed over them, the earlier fear lurked in the shadows, reminding them of the divisive stories they harbored. The misinterpreted actions that could spiral into chaos weighed heavy on both their hearts. For now, they had survived, but they both knew the bridge they sought to build was just beginning, and much lay ahead as they faced the unknown together. As the twilight deepened around them, casting a purple hue across the grove, Lucas and Tessara sat at the edge of a shimmering stream that danced and reflected the glows of bioluminescent flowers looming above. The air was fragrant with night-blooming blossoms, a heady scent that wrapped them in an unexpected comfort after the adrenaline-charged escape they had just experienced. "Do you think they will return?" Tessara asked softly, her voice barely above the murmur of the water. She rested her hands on her knees, gazing into the current as if searching for answers. "They could," Lucas replied, his tone serious. "But now that I've seen how powerful you are, I know that we can handle it if they do. You commanded those beasts. It was amazing." A shy smile crept onto Tessara's face, and for the first time, Lucas noticed how truly beautiful she was, her features delicate, framed by cascading waves of her deep emerald hair that seemed to blend with the vibrant landscape around them. Yet, beneath the radiance, he sensed the remnants of fear and doubt that still clung to her. "Thank you, Lucas," she said, her voice sincere, breathing in the lingering tension from their earlier encounter. "But I acted purely on instinct. The stories of humans are ingrained in our being. Trust does not come easily, not after all we've seen." "I understand," Lucas replied, feeling the weight of her words. "But you're showing me there's more to you beyond those stories. Can we start fresh?" Tessara studied him, those bright eyes firmly locked on his. "You've shown bravery today, Lucas. It is a quality I admire." Her words hung in the air, both fragile and powerful, like the flowers surrounding them. "But tell me more about your world. If we're to understand each other, I must know you better." A warm smile crossed Lucas's lips at her genuine curiosity. "Sure, there's a lot to share about Earth and the ways humans live. But let me start with something more lighthearted." He shifted so they were facing each other more directly. "You know those stories of humans eating their mates?" "Yes," Tessara replied, her expression serious. "What of them?" "They're exaggerated, to say the least," he chuckled, shaking his head. "Humans don't consume one another. Sure, we eat meat and plants, but not in the way you might think. We actually form deep relationships, friendships, families, partnerships. We share meals to bond with one another, celebrate occasions, and even to comfort those in need." Tessara leaned closer, intrigued. "You bond over food." "Exactly. It's a universal language," he affirmed, heartwarming memories flooding his mind. "Cooking together is something we do as a form of love. I've always found it fascinating how food can weave people's lives together. It's about creating a shared experience." As he spoke, Tessara saw a glimmer of something new in Lucas. His passion for his culture opened a door she hadn't expected, revealing a more profound layer to the human she had first encountered in the woods. Could it be true? Could there be love amongst beings she had been taught to fear? Tell me about your favorite meal, she urged. Her curiosity piqued. Ah, that's easy. It's actually a simple dish my mother used to make. We'd gather as a family every Sunday night and share stories while we ate spaghetti with marinara sauce. It's a comforting meal, not fancy, but full of warmth and love, he reminisced, a fond smile spreading across his face. Spaghetti, Tessara repeated, clearly fascinated. What is that? Imagine long strands of food made from wheat, cooked until soft, and then tossed in sauce made from tomatoes and herbs, he explained, eyes twinkling. And we often make it together, passing ingredients, laughing over spills. It's more than just eating, it's creating memories. I would love to taste this spaghetti one day, Tessara said softly, her voice trembling slightly with emotion. His heart quickened at her willingness to embrace something foreign. I'd love to share that with you. And I want to learn about your customs too. There must be something special about your connection to food and sharing. She hesitated for a moment, the prospect of sharing her culture with him both exciting and daunting. We believe food can carry an emotional weight. A ritual dish is prepared for important moments, a gathering, a celebration, or a passage into adulthood. It brings us together and reinforces the bonds we share. Lucas nodded appreciatively. Sounds beautiful. What's an example of such a dish? There is a celebration called the Rite of Blossoming, Tessara began, her eyes brightening as she spoke, where we prepare a sacred dish made from our planet's fruit mixed with sacred herbs. It signifies growth and connection. It's shared with family and friends, often accompanied by songs and stories. Sounds like a wonderful tradition. Lucas smiled warmly. Would you sing a song for me sometime? I'd love to hear one about your people. Tessara looked taken aback, her cheeks flushing. I don't know if I would sing for a human, she admitted shyly, but the playful glimmer in her eyes suggested otherwise. Please, just think of it as a way to show me your world, he coaxed, and he didn't miss the way her smile began to spread. I promise I won't bite. With a gentle laugh, Tessara relented. Very well, but only if you sing for me in return, yes? You've got a deal, Lucas said, excitement bubbling in his chest. But fair warning, my singing voice is questionable at best. They both chuckled at the thought, and in that moment, they found joy in their mutual vulnerability. The shadows of uncertainty began to fade as they forged a deeper connection. Then, as the stars alighted across the night sky, they shared the stories of their childhoods, laughter echoing amidst the serenity of the grove, binding them closer together with each shared tale. Lucas spoke of his childhood adventures playing in the parks of Earth, climbing trees, and of sunsets that painted the skies in brilliant hues. Tessara, inspired by his warmth, shared stories of her homeland, a world filled with vivid colors, where her people would gather in harmony, celebrating life with the sweeping beauty of their song and dance. She recounted tales of playful rituals, where the youngest of their clan would reenact the tales of their ancestors, surrounded by laughter. As the night unfolded, the line between their worlds blurred, allowing them to discover not just each other, but who they were as individuals. They were no longer human and alien, but two souls creating a shared existence amid differences. Thank you for sharing your stories with me, Tessara said, a gentle smile illuminating her features. I feel like I am beginning to understand you, the way your heart beats through the fabric of these tales. And thank you for sharing yours, Lucas replied, his voice sincere. It opens my eyes to a world I never knew existed, a world filled with beauty and depth. They fell into a comfortable silence, gazing into the star-filled sky, contemplating the unknown challenges that awaited them. Each felt a growing sense of understanding and respect, a budding friendship that transcended the barriers of their origins and the stories they had carried. The night deepened, and beneath the glittering expanse of stars, they forged a connection that felt unbreakable, leaning into the hope of discovery. Together, they stood on the precipice of a world newly shared, ready to challenge the histories that sought to divide them, forging a path towards empathy and trust that was theirs alone. As dawn broke over Varenthia, the streets of the distant Varenthian village began to awaken, filled with the sounds of life. The sun spilled golden light through the canopy, painting a kaleidoscope of colors across the forest floor as Lucas and Tessara made their way back to her hometown. They had agreed to visit in hopes of bridging the gap between their worlds, but an underlying tension hung in the air, a mix of exhilaration and fear of the unknown. Tessara led Lucas along a worn path adorned with vibrant flowers and deep-rooted flora, each step a blend of curiosity and apprehension. "You'll see," she encouraged as they walked. "My people are not as fearful as you may think. They are just cautious. Our past has made us wary." "I get that," Lucas replied, his voice steady despite the fluttering anxiety in his stomach. "But you've shown me there's more to you than what the stories describe. I hope they'll see that too." As they approached the village center, vibrant structures made of organic materials rose majestically, blending seamlessly with their environment. Tessara's heartbeat quickened as the atmosphere shifted, pride clashing with lingering anxiety. "This is it," she said, staring at the gathering of her kin, several of whom had gathered to witness her return. Upon entering the village, murmurs filled the air, and eyes turned towards them. The weight of scrutiny pressed against Lucas, electricity sparking in every glance exchanged. Tessara squeezed his hand, offering silent reassurance, yet her own apprehension lingered like a shadow. "Look," she began, raising her voice to address her people. "I have brought someone from Earth to share in our customs and to learn who we are." A ripple of disbelief flowed through the crowd, and whispers ignited like wildfire. "A human," came the sharp voice of Jareth, a tribal elder known for his fierce loyalty to tradition. "What treachery is this?" "He is not a threat," Tessara insisted, her voice strong against the swell of doubt surrounding them. "Lucas seeks understanding. He does not wish to harm us." Jareth stepped forward, towering and fierce, his patterned skin glowing with intensity. "You bring this creature into our midst? After all that has befallen our people?" As the tension thickened, Lucas felt the weight of their history before him, tales of betrayal and heartache that hung like a shroud. For a moment, he contemplated retreating, but Tessara's grip on his hand tightened as if sensing his hesitation. "This is exactly why we need to talk," Lucas interjected, his voice steadying and rising above their murmurs. "I'm not here to take anything away from you or your people. I want to learn. I want to heal the divide between us. We can grow stronger together." The crowd's skepticism clashed with curiosity, many still divided and shifting uncomfortably. "What can a human offer?" Jareth challenged. "What can they possibly know of our ways?" "I know," Lucas said, boldness igniting within him. "I know what it is to have loved ones and to fear losing them. I know tragedy in a different form, but pain knows no species." He could feel Tessara's energy fueling his courage, and he took a deep breath, willing himself to continue. "My people have committed atrocities too. We've made mistakes, but we also strive for connection, learning from our past. We can build bridges beyond fear and misunderstanding." An uneasy murmur swept through the crowd, and Tessara's heart raced as she watched their reactions. Some appeared skeptical, others intrigued. The elder Jareth seemed unmoved, his resolve firm. "You expect us to believe you? Just words will not suffice. Prove it. If your heart is true, show us your intentions." "Let me," Lucas proposed, determination surging through him. "Let's hold a gathering, a feast to celebrate our worlds. We can share food, stories, and traditions. If I am to be trusted, I'll openly engage with your customs and embrace every part of who you are. There must be ceremonies to honor the ancestors as well," Tessara added, her voice steady, confident in her beliefs. "A time to blend our worlds in respect." Jareth regarded them cautiously, the lines on his face deepening as he wrestled with his thoughts. "A feast and ceremony will be held, but if there's even a hint of betrayal, you will be removed immediately. We are a proud people, and our past guides us through the shadows." With a sense of determination, Lucas replied, "I understand and accept your challenge. I will not let you down." Over the next few hours, they prepared for the gathering, working alongside Tessara's kin as they busted through the initial distrust. As they cooked, Lucas genuinely engaged with the villagers, learning the intricacies of their rituals and sharing stories from his own life. To his surprise, some of the older villagers recalled their own childhood stories, sprinkled with laughter, their hearts opening slowly. But as night fell, an unsettling energy began to weave its way through the gathering. While segments of the population warmed to Lucas's presence, others remained skeptical, their distrust simmering just beneath the surface. As the feast commenced, laughter and camaraderie ignited in pockets, yet attention remained on those who quietly sulked away from the heart of the celebration. Suddenly, amid the rhythmic sounds of drums and echoing laughter, alarms blasted through the village, piercing the joyous atmosphere. Shadows flitted through the trees, and the demeanor of the villagers shifted from festivity to fear. Lucas felt a chill creep down his spine, and the laughter turned to whispers of concern. "Tessara," he called, his hand finding hers in the chaos. "What's happening?" Her eyes flickered with worry and realization. "It's the rival clan, the one that challenged us before. They've come to assert their dominance." The tension surged, panic rippling through the crowd as citizens grabbed weapons and took defensive stances. Jareth shouted commands for everyone to return to their homes, reinforcing the need for protection. "We can't let them take what we've built," he bellowed, brandishing his weapon, eyes burning with urgency. "We stand our ground." Lucas's instincts kicked in, the chaos of the moment fueling his pulse. "I'll help. Let me fight alongside you." "No," Tessara responded sharply, gripping his arm tightly. "You don't understand their ways. Humans joining a fight would escalate this further. But I can offer my help. My knowledge of strategy, my experience." The thoughts raced in Lucas's mind, wanting more than anything to protect her and her people. "No, we need to show strength united, not divided." Tessara insisted. "We stand together, you and I. We will not back down." In that crucial moment, as tension shifted between hopeful rebellion and fear, Lucas's heart realized the truth within Tessara's words. He observed the fear that darkened the villagers' eyes, and he recognized the need for unity, something more than just physical strength. As the rival clan emerged from the shadows, threatening to extinguish the peace woven through the village, Lucas took in the sight surrounding them. He felt their stories whispered in every glance, their shared history echoing as a reminder of past sacrifices. "Then let's show them who we are together. Let's fight side by side," he yelled, the resolve in his heart igniting with unyielding strength. Holding Tessara's gaze, he felt hope blossom amidst uncertainty. The briefest flicker of light in the darkest hour as they prepared to confront what lay ahead. The air hung thick with uncertainty as the rival clan advanced, their figures emerging from the shadows with a fierce determination that sent shivers through Lucas. The villagers formed a protective ring around their own, rallying behind Jareth as he called upon their ancestral strength. But it was Tessara by his side, who commanded his focus, her unwavering spirit fueling his resolve. In a brave, glaring moment, Jareth raised his weapon high. "We will protect our home, our people," he proclaimed, his voice echoing into the night, inspiring fierce loyalty in those who stood with him. "If they seek battle, we shall stand united." Sweat beaded on Lucas's brow as he squared his shoulders, taking Tessara's hand tightly in his. He felt their hearts race in synchrony, a rush of adrenaline knitting their destinies together. "Whatever happens, we do this together," Tessara whispered, her confidence igniting a protective fire within him. As the rival clan rushed forward, the clash echoed through the air, the shimmer of weapons and glints of fury contrasting the solemn earnestness of the villagers. Chaos erupted, stunning Lucas as he saw firsthand the ferocity of a proper confrontation. Yet it was more chaotic than he'd anticipated. He had believed standing side by side with them would bring resolution, not discord. In the thick of the battle, Lucas quickly found himself backed into a corner, muscles tense and pulse racing. The rival clan had been put off balance momentarily, but they rallied swiftly. "This is madness," he yelled, thrust into action against the onslaught. He swung at the nearest opponent, but it quickly became clear. He was ill-prepared for this battle. A sharp pain shot through his arm as a rival warrior countered his strike, nearly disarming him. Heart pounding, he barely managed to regain his composure, glancing at Tessara, who fought valiantly to protect their shared cause. Tessara! Lucas shouted, his voice almost lost amid the cry of battle. We need a strategy. We can't win like this. With fury in her eyes, Tessara squared her shoulders, desperation clawing at her heart. We need to show them that we stand not just as individuals, but as one strong community. Suddenly, a thought ignited in Lucas's mind. We turn this chaos into a chance for unity, he yelled, an idea blossoming amidst the thrumming tension. Let's use our voices to drown out violence. Without hesitation, he grabbed Tessara's hand, pulling her toward the center of the chaos. As they stood amidst the storm, Lucas took a moment to steady himself. Everyone, he called out, raising his voice above the din of clashing steel. Your strength is in your community. We are not enemies among ourselves. Sensing his intention, Tessara echoed his words, her unique luminescent patterns glowing brighter as she projected her voice amidst the strife. Listen to us. Our stories blend in harmony. We can find peace together. The fight around them hesitated. Confusion rippled through the opposing clan. Villagers paused, the fires of their anger flickering at the sound of unity lacing through the air. The resolve in Lucas's heart solidified, sensing the slightest shift as those around began to adopt the faith woven into their cries. Stop, shouted Jareth, who, realizing his daughter's pleas, dropped his weapon and squared his shoulders to address the approaching clan leader. We do not seek bloodshed. We all share these lands, and we must forge connections instead of walls. Lucas could see the uncertain gaze of the rival clan leader soften as the air thickened around them. The glint of steel lowered as hesitance filled the space where fury had once brewed, a tentative recognition hanging in the air. I see your truth, Jareth, the rival leader replied, finally lowering his weapon. But trust is not easily earned, nor can the scars of our past be dismissed. That is why we need to come together, Tessara said, her voice steady and clear, to face the challenges set before us with our resolve and learn from each other. We can share tales of our histories, our hopes, and begin anew, Lucas suggested, urging his voice forward. Let your story entwine with ours, weaving a future brighter than our past. The rival leader regarded him closely, and slowly, the tension began to melt away. They recognized the essence of vulnerability and resolution etched into their lives, hopes for reconciliation spreading a soft light into the nights ahead. One by one, hands were extended, distrust beginning to melt in the dawn of a new realization. The fierce warriors of both clans lowered their weapons, recognizing the power of their shared humanity and the strength in unity. A fragile truce ignited conversation, echoing forward the start of healing between civilizations once steeped in separation. Tessara turned to Lucas, her face alight with joy. We did it. We faced them together. Her eyes shimmered with gratitude and admiration, alive with a flicker of hope. You helped bridge our worlds. He grinned, heart swelling at their collective triumph. It was all of us, Tessara. Together, we can build something lasting, something that honors our past but celebrates our potential. The sun rose, illuminating the once opaque rifts between clans, a renewed community standing under its golden embrace, uniting in hope and healing. In the days that followed, Lucas and Tessara worked alongside the villagers to rebuild the ties that had been lost. Potlucks and gatherings began to take shape, where stories were shared freely, seeds of camaraderie planted firmly in their hearts. Their gatherings unfolded in joyous laughter, bridging the gulf formed by legends of old, showing that love and understanding were ever more present. As the bonds ripened, Lucas and Tessara formed a connection deeper than ever, nurtured by shared experiences on the edge of worlds once divided. Standing hand in hand beneath the vastness of the stars, love began to blossom, unbridled, honest, and beautiful, illuminating the darkest corners of their shared histories. It was a love born not just of passion but of acceptance, a bridge threaded through understanding, hope, and trust, a story woven together across galaxies.